and welcome back to the Getting Better at Pokemon series, where I try to get better at Pokemon. So, the team that we are using today, very similar to the last one. Like I said, we aren't really going to be changing our archetype a lot, but a lot of the details have changed quite a bit. You'll notice there are two Pokemon different. No Landorus, instead we have Fluttermane. No Farigiraf, instead we have Amoonguss. So, there's a lot that I considered over the last week. One of the biggest things I realized was I wanted more bulk on the team. I wanted a better switch in, and I also really wanted redirection. There's a lot of situations where you really just want Miraidon or Ice Rider to attack multiple times in a row, and so having redirection is really useful for that. I really just wanted Amoonguss to give myself a better defensive switch-in into things like Urshifu, as well as helping into Zamazenta, which is what Landorus's role was, but Amoonguss kind of does that a little bit better, and defensively, which is something I was missing from the team. I want Rocky Helmet on Amoonguss, which means the Incineroar set had to change. We don't have Parting Shot anymore, now we have Assault Vest and U-Turn. And also, since we don't have Landorus, I switched to Snarl on Miraidon over Discharge. This also helps compensate for the fact that we're losing Parting Shot. The other big part of the team that changed is Fluttermane. Something that you guys mentioned in the last episode is this team could really benefit from some fast speed control. So there's a lot of options we could go with. Whimsicott is probably the most popular fast speed control option, but I like Fluttermane because it's stronger, Icy Wind does a little bit of damage so it can break Focus Sashes, and also it gets a non-prankster taunt, which is a big deal because you want to be able to taunt things like Dark types like Incineroar, taunt things like Farigiraf or Indeedee. So yeah, Fluttermane just seems like a really nice option there. Fairy typing is good. And then it's just been some minor EV tweaks and changes here and there. If you want to really dive in, I'll leave the paste in the description. But with all that out of the way, let's get into the games. So you might notice this team is named Take 3, and the reason for that is don't worry about it. We don't worry about Take 2. Take 2? Who knows how to count to 2? We just go 1 to 3 here. Yeah. Alright, going up against Kevin. What do you got for us, Kevin? Ooh, okay, I think this is the Japan Nationals top 4 team. If they didn't change the team, it's going to be Scarf Kyogre. So, Scarf Miraidon is going to be really good for us here, but we need to worry about Smeargle Ice Rider lead. That's definitely their most scary combination. Yeah, they definitely have a lot of pressure with that. Urshifu is my go-to Smeargle check. Urshifu Ensign is kind of my anti-Smeargle Ice Rider mode. It's nice because if they go for Kyogre, I will live a Thunder with Urshifu because of Focus Sash and then get a big attack off. Definitely want Miraidon in the back to help check the Kyogre. And then I think probably just Ice Rider. It pins the Terra Grass on their Ice Rider. It hits Landorus if they decide to bring it, which maybe they will because we have Miraidon. The only thing that Ice Rider really hates is Kyogre, which we're bringing 2 answers for in Miraidon and Urshifu. And it also does not like Volcarona, but we have really 3 answers for the Volcarona with Ensign, Ursh, and Miraidon. So I think Ice Rider's just a pretty solid bring here. Could consider Amoonguss, but I don't think it's great because of Terra Grass Ice Rider, and then Fluttermane. This isn't really a matchup where I want Fluttermane because we already have the speed advantage with Scarf Kyogre. Or Scarf Miraidon against their Scarf Kyogre, so here we go. Okay, they are going to go with a Landorus lead. That's interesting. Opting not to go with the Smeargle. We do have Fake Out pressure, but they could switch in Farigiraf. I think Kyogre plus one of either Smeargle, Farigiraf. I guess it could be Volk as well. The question I'm thinking about is it worth going for Fake Out here, or do I have an even better play? I'm thinking it might be worth it to go for Surging Strikes into the Landorus and U-Turn onto the Calyrex, and then getting into my Calyrex. problem with that is if they just rip an Earth Power and they're faster than my Urshifu. I'll live though because I'm Assault Vest. I think I'm willing to go for this. I'm gonna go for U-turn and Surging Strikes. They could Earth Power, but I'll live due to Assault Vest. Okay, and they do switch out, which is what I thought was more likely. It's gonna be Volcarona. Okay, so they're trying to burn Urshifu at the cost of sacrificing Volcarona. Actually, it won't be a sacrifice if they get the burn early. Okay, no burn until now, but it shouldn't matter. It should still be a KO, hopefully. Oh, okay. That is not ideal. Because we're probably getting Seed Bombed here, and I think after the burn, that'll be enough to KO. Oh, but they just have Horsepower. Okay, that still does a lot of damage. But we eat that up. Okay. So, Volcarona is pressured. We know that their last is probably going to be Kyogre. I think Terra Water Ice Rider is what I want to play towards here because they don't really have a way to break it other than Thunder on Kyogre, and I can pin that with Miraidon. So I kind of want to keep... Miraidon healthy here. Something I could consider would be going into Miraidon and going for Volt Switch. But I think I'm good to just go with Calyrex here. It's a good defensive wall against their Calyrex. Should probably check. I wasn't paying attention at the start to see if their Calyrex was clear Amulet or not, so... Okay, they aren't. They're probably just Assault Vest, and it's probably just the same team then. With how bulky they are on their Volcarona, the fact they were able to live that, I think they're definitely bold, not timid, so Urshifu should outspeed here. And I don't really think there's anything stopping me from going for Surging plus Glacial Lance. I could go for high horsepower, it's technically more damage. But I don't want to miss, and Glacial Lance is just solid. Single target Glacial Lance is going to be basically as much damage as high horsepower, so I think it is a better play for us here. Okay, makes sense. They're just going to go ahead and sack Volcarona there. It's done its job. Traded with my Urshifu. They're going to go for a Crunch that does a lot of damage. That is a crit. I was about to say that did way too much damage. That's actually really bad, because it means now we'll go down to an Earth Power from Landorus. Interesting. Now I do not really have a way to deal with Landorus. Crit sets us back a massive amount there. Let's see, can I still win? They can just go Kyogre here and Water Spout, and there's really nothing I can do about that. Yeah, so I just have to sacrifice Urshifu here. I need to get a free switch into Miraidon, that's what we're looking for. Okay, I think I'm gonna sack Urshifu. We'll get a little Aqua Jet chip on their Calyrex. And then just go for a Protect here. What's gonna happen is Urshifu is gonna go down, and then I'm going to get into Miraidon, and I'll have a situation where I can pin the slot with Electro Drift and Glacial Lance. I think I can even Terra Electric my Miraidon to live a Glacial Lance on their end. Yeah, I think we should be in a pretty decent spot here. Oh, they ult pulse, that's weird. Surely you should just spout there every time, no? Whatever, it doesn't really matter. They hit, I'll take it. Maybe they wanted to miss Urshifu so that Calyrex could pick up the KO and get an attack boost. That could be what they were thinking. Yeah, now I think I just go into Miraidon, and I have their Kyogre pinned. Because we saw our Ice Rider outspeeding theirs. The two things they could go for are Glacial Lance to try and pick up a KO on Miraidon, or Crunch to try and pick up a KO on Calyrex. And I think if I go for Terra, Electro Drift, and Glacial Lance, that should cover for all the options. Because they're pinned. The only way they can take the Electro Drift is if they switch into Landorus, and then our Glacial Lance will go before their Calyrex. We'll also live if they don't crit another Crunch. I'm pretty happy making this play. Because the thing is, we saw them reveal Crunch, so we know that they are Assault Vest. So there's no way they can, like, set up Trick Room and mess us up that way. So I think unless, I mean, what crazy RNG could even happen? I think this might be a guaranteed win for us. Let's see how it plays out. Maybe there's something I'm not considering. Maybe our Calyrex have been speed tying and they're out. Oh! Did I miss that? Were they faster than me the whole time? Okay, I could have lost if they crit there. Were they faster the whole time? Am I crazy? Am I losing my mind? Or are we speed tying? Either way, we live because we don't get crit. And yeah, it should just be game over here. We can just go for Electro Drift. And Glacial Lance. They could have changed the Kyogre Terra. If they're Terra Grass, then I will lose. But if you're Scarf Kyogre, you should probably be Terra Water, otherwise you're not really doing enough damage. So I'm pretty sure this Electro Drift is just safe here. I think something I want to do for the series is start to get open sheet games, like best of threes against people that I know, but they are just Terra Water. Because honestly, guys, closed sheet is really not nearly as competitive as best of three open sheet, in my opinion. I think the skill ceiling for best of one closed team sheet is much lower. I think it's a lot easier to cheese out wins and maybe get wins that, you know, your opponent wasn't really covering for. So I think best of three open team sheet is just a lot healthier. So maybe going forward we will do more of that in the series. But for now, I just wanted to start on ladder, just kind of feel out, see what I wanted to do for the series. And also playing in game is more fun than doing it on Showdown. I could do like best of threes on Showdown, but I don't think Showdown is nearly as engaging to watch. I also have a Switch 2, so you know, I gotta make the most out of that purchase. I literally only use it to play VGC, which is kind of funny, but honestly, the frame rate is so much better that I think it is worth it. So, pick up a dub there, and yeah, I think them bringing Landorus is interesting. Not bringing Smeargle makes sense because it's just gonna go down to Urshifu. But I like how I was always able to play to a favorable position because we removed their redirection Volcarona. And then after that, Miraidon kind of just eternally pinned their Kyogre. Yeah. That was a pretty good game. On to the next. Alright. Another game coming up. Another Kyogre and Ice Rider. I'm not familiar with this 6. I mean, obviously, it's 6 very standard Pokemon. I think this is a real team. Joe might have made a video with this team. I think it's still going to be Scarf Kyogre, but it could also be Scarf on Urshifu. How do we want to approach this? I think Urshifu is still decent. Incineroar is still decent. Amoonguss is pretty good, especially if I can get up Trick Room. I don't think I need Flutter Mane because, again, I will still have the speed advantage with Miraidon. I think likely leads from them include Rillaboom Cali. I want to lead with Ice Rider and Incineroar, and then have Miraidon and Urshifu in the back. Yeah, let's lock that in. Because we have Fake Out pressure on their Kyogre if they lead it. And I can switch Urshifu into the combination of Water Spout and Glacial Lance, just in case they decide to lead with Kyogre, but they don't go with Kyogre. Okay, they go with Urshifu. Okay. So... They do get intimidated on Calyrex. I'm considering Terra Bug on Incineroar. I think Fake Out Glacial Lance is just good damage turn 1. They want to Surging Strikes Urshifu. Surging Strikes Incineroar with Urshifu and go for Glacial Lance. That's probably their play. Or go for a Leech Seed or something like that. I am going to Glacial Lance and hard switch into Miraidon. I think I have an opportunity to switch in Miraidon here on a turn where they're not going to go for Glacial Lance. I think it's more likely that they go for something like Protect or Leech Seed onto my Calyrex. It is just going to go ahead and be a Surging Strikes. If they Glacial Lance here, good play. Maybe this was too risky from me. They definitely outled me. Okay, we do have the faster Calyrex. That's something I need to pay attention to. I'm still not used to... Okay, but it is just a Leech Seed. That makes sense. Yeah, I'm still not used to keeping track of everything while recording and trying to provide commentary. I promise you guys, I'm not this bad at paying attention to the field conditions in tournaments. My results would definitely not be as good if that were the case, so yeah, I'm still getting used to this. Still getting used to making videos like this. Okay. So, they obviously have a pretty safe Glacial Lance this turn. I think it's very likely that they either protect Urshifu or switch it out into Rillaboom. I think protect has got to be more likely. What I'm thinking is go for Glacial Lance, Volt Switch their Calyrex, get back into Incineroar, get another Intimidate down. They could protect in close combat Miraidon, but that's kind of a psychotic play, so I'm not going to cover for it. Yeah, if they just stay in an attack with Urshifu, fair play to them. But I feel like Protect or switch to Rillaboom. Probably Protect is just so obvious. Okay, but it is going to be a switch. Could be Incineroar as well. Okay, but it is Rillaboom. So this is why we clicked Glacial Lance, to try and pin that. Beautiful. This is why Ice Rider and Miraidon are so strong together. I mean, it's the classic Bolt Beam, Electric Ice coverage. Electric hits water, which resists ice, and ice hits grass, which resists electric. Situations like this are why I thought Ice Rider Miraidon would be the best archetype coming into the format, or one of the best archetypes at the very least. Okay, so that's really good. Really, really good. The fact that they made that play makes me think that they don't have Protect on Urshifu. Because I would think surely you protect Urshifu there as opposed to just sacrificing Rillaboom. Maybe they thought I wouldn't click Glacial Lance because there were 2 resists on the field, but you gotta be thinking about what board your opponent wants to be in, into not what board they currently have. So being able to anticipate Rillaboom coming in there was really good for us. Urshifu comes back in now, and it feels like they're just screaming that they're gonna protect now. Part of me thinks they don't have it. Part of me wants to just Volt Switch the Urshifu. I don't know if I can afford Volt Switch Urshifu Protect and then Glacial Lance, because then how am I getting through Kyogre? I think I'm down to pepper them with another Glacial Lance and Volt Switch off the Calyrex because it just protected. They switch into Kyogre? Listen, I do not think Kyogre is going to love taking this Volt Switch. And they Terra Urshifu. Okay, what are they? Terra Grass? Terra what? Interesting. So I definitely think they're Scarf Urshifu at this point, based on how they're playing. So I am anticipating a Surging Strikes into Calyrex, and I believe that will KO. I don't think they're Surging Miraidon. If I go into Incineroar here, I think that puts me in a really good position because I'm anticipating Calyrex gets knocked out by Surging Strikes here, and then I get a Fake Out plus attack with Miraidon. I don't have Discharge anymore. This is one of the positions where like Discharge was really good, but I think it's okay because I have Fake Out, so I'll have enough time to set up the Fake Out and Electro Drift each one. And if they go for the Incineroar slot here, then that means I get a Glacial Lance off, I can Terra Water Ice Rider next turn and get Miraidon back in. Right, so I think no matter what happens, this is going to be pretty good for me, because this Glacial Lance chip is very relevant. It might even... Oh, actually it won't. It won't two-shot Kyogre because of the Leech Seed that's still on me. Oh, goodness, never mind. I forgot. We're +1. Yeah, no, so this is just good for us. Yeah, so now I'm just gonna go back into Miraidon, go for Electro Drift onto Urshifu, because I'm pretty sure they're Scarfed at this point based on how they've been playing it. And then Glacial Lance. I'm just trying to think if I need to Terra Calyrex. We should live in Origin Pulse. The only thing I'm scared of is I Terra Water and they read it and go for Thunder, and then Electric Terrain boosted Thunder KOs my Calyrex. Even though we're in a good position here, you always want to be thinking about how your opponent could get back in the game. I think Origin Pulse crit or Hydro Pump crit is their only real way. But I don't want to like throw and go for Terra Water and then get slapped by Thunder, and I should live either way. And even if they do KO me, I think the combination of Urshifu plus Miraidon is enough to get through their Calyrex. So I'm going to choose not to, not to blow the Terra here. I think that could be a potential way to throw. Okay, Drift is going to come out into Urshifu. I think from this point, even if they crit, KO Calyrex, Ice Beam, freeze Miraidon, I don't think there's really anything they could go to get back into the game here. They go for Hydro Pump on a Miraidon. Yeah, that wouldn't have done anything even if it did hit. So this is going to be another clean win for us. Alright, cool. So that's 2 games, 2 Ice Rider Kyogres defeated. I think in this game, the big advantage that we had was pretty much their whole team kind of being pinned by Electro Drift plus Glacial Lance. Yeah, this game really just highlights how strong this restricted duo can be when you get them into good positions like this. Alright. Pretty clean first couple games, 2-0. Not really much to say there other than what we've already said, so let's keep it moving. Alright guys, I'm pretty upset because I just got into 2 games and my internet cut out in team preview of both of them. So I took 2 losses, all the way down to 840. I just hope that I can actually play this game. So, let's see. Up against Santee, they've got Lunala, Incin, Miraidon, Urshifu, Grimmsnarl, Ursaluna. Okay, so this is like the Milwaukee Tang Team 6. I think this is a pretty bad matchup for us, but I think we actually get to show off Fluttermane Fluttermane looks really good here. We can taunt Lunala, we can taunt Grimmsnarl, Moonblast is really good into pretty much their whole team. They don't have any fairy resists, so this is definitely a Fluttermane type of game. Who do I want to pair with Fluttermane? I think Fluttermane Miraidon is pretty interesting, pretty appealing, because I can Moonblast Electro Drift to pick off Lunala really fast. I think Calyrex is also an interesting lead option to consider. These teams also don't have a lot of fake-out counterplays. Something like Incineroar plus Fluttermane might actually be really nice against them. I kind of like that. I do feel like I need Calyrex. It feels kind of weird dropping Urshifu here. But I'm gonna do it. I could have also dropped Miraidon. I don't know. I'm not really confident in the 4 that I brought into this. I like Fluttermane, and then that's the only one I know. That's the only one I know that I like. Okay. So the play I kind of want to make turn 1 is fake out Terra Fairy Moonblast Grimmsnarl. I could also taunt Lunala. Something that is a little bit concerning is they could just, like, set up Trick Room for Ursaluna right away. But if I get rid of Grimmsnarl, they don't get screens, and I think it's likely that they go for, like, a Moongeist Beam into Fluttermane. I think Terra Fairy is good because it's a good offensive and defensive Terra here. I'm just trying to evaluate whether, like, they should go for Trick Room or not. They definitely could. It's kind of a soft read. I could taunt and concede a screen, or I could go for Grimmsnarl and concede a Trick Room. I really just want to get rid of Grimmsnarl, so I'm gonna make this play. I think they're gonna Moongeist Beam Fluttermane. Because the thing is, I could have taunt, right? From their perspective, so Trick Room isn't really that safe. Okay, they're gonna Terra. I'm assuming Lunala. You have to, yeah, you have to. You're just pressured way too heavily here. Okay, no shenanigans, no Covert Cloak, no BS, okay, cool. Is this enough to KO? I don't have, like, any special attack investment on Fluttermane, but it's still Terra Fairy Moonblast. Okay, cool, it does get there. No Trick Room, please? Okay, it is just Moongeist. Alright, so that went pretty much perfectly for us. Worst case scenario there would have been switch to Ursaluna and Trick Room. But I feel like they really want to get rid of Fluttermane because it has so much pressure against their entire team. And also, they kind of have to cover for Taunt as well. Here, I think their play is going to be Volt Switch and Trick Room. So I think what I want to do is go for Taunt. And U-turn the Lunala. And then start going to town with Ice Rider. I could Moonblast Miraidon, but it's not going to KO because they're going to be Assault Vest, most likely. And I really want to stop them from clicking Wide Guard and Trick Room. Yeah, and they're using it as a bait. That makes sense to get into Ursaluna. Yeah, that makes sense. I could have gone for Moonblast and Knockoff into that slot, but I feel like this puts me in a better position positionally? Better position positionally? What am I talking about? I want Ice Rider in against the board of Ursaluna and Lunala. And the fact that U-turn went off there means that they are going for Trick Room, by the way, so I don't have to worry about switching into a Moongeist Beam or anything like that. Because Trick Room has negative priority. Nope, can't do that. Okay. Now we're in a really nice spot. I think here we just go for Protect on Calyrex to bait out a Protect from Ursaluna. Even if they attack and KO Fluttermane, it's fine, because I just get into Incineroar and then I get a Fake Out. So yeah, I'm super comfortable just going for Moonblast here and Protect. There's not really anything they can do to punish this. Okay, no Protect on Ursaluna. They go for Moongeist. Probably Facade into Flutter. Oh, they double. Okay, well that's really good for me. Yeah, that... I was not expecting that. Well now, they're still taunted for another turn, so this is where we Moonblast and Glacial the Lunala. There's not really a lot they can do. I should just... yeah, I mean... Okay, so do I get another game? All three of those games were, like, pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Some good, yeah. Some good moments in that turn one, they could have just gone for Trick Room and switched to Ursaluna. You always want to be thinking about ways your opponent could have won. I'm gonna try getting another just because those went so fast. I don't know if I trust my internet. I keep DCing, but yeah, we'll see. Hopefully I can hold out enough to get one more game. All right, going up against Hensey. Okay, this will be a good one. This is Marco's NAIC team. Got Calyrex Shadow, Zamazenta, Rillaboom, Ogerpon Fire, Incineroar, and Raging Bolt. Okay, cool. This will be like the final boss for the episode. I think I like going with Miraidon Incineroar against this. This is a matchup I've thought about a lot. Usually what I go with is Miraidon, Incin, Urshifu, Amoonguss. I'm just trying to think if there's any reason to deviate from that. The reason you go Miraidon Incin is because Miraidon can two-shot either the Calyrex or the Zamazenta, even if they have grassy terrain up. So if you go Miraidon Incin, you have the pressure. These teams don't really have speed control, and we also resist all of the priority moves that they could go for. We have Fake Out to trade for Fake Out. Scarf Miraidon plus AV Incin is pretty good into these kinds of teams. That is one of the things I learned in practice. From there, it could be Urshifu, could be Calyrex. I kind of like Calyrex. The big thing is you want Amoonguss for the Zamazenta to redirect body presses so that Miraidon can kind of pop off. I could also go with Fluttermane, worth considering here. I think all three of my remaining Pokemon are good. I'm just gonna go with Urshifu since I can't really decide. Urshifu's just good. It's just neutral into everything. Fluttermane could have been good. But I think we'll be fine here. I'm just gonna go with my standard game plan. Okay. Interesting. So we have Fire Ogerpon and Calyrex. Getting through Fire Pond is actually a big problem for me. So this is a good lead from them. Double Protect is pretty safe here. Yeah, Fire Ogre's actually such a big problem. Double Protect, I could just attack. I don't really have a way to get through this Ogerpon. Interesting. I do have Snarl. It might be worth considering. Thinking Snarl U-turn. They're just gonna double protect, but this covered for like switch to Rillaboom. Okay, I wanted to reveal Snarl to like scare them into terraing. Was kind of the logic there. So I feel like Terra Dark Nasty Plot is the play that they want to go for here, and then maybe switch into Rillaboom. I want to switch to Urshifu. And go for U-turn into Calyrex. The logic here is, I think that I can get Urshifu in for free, because I think their play should be something along the lines of switch out Ogerpon, or just follow me, and then Terra Dark and Nasty Plot. Oh, but that was very wrong. What is this? Rillaboom? Okay. So it came in on the other slot, sure. It's fine, I guess. And they follow me. What? That is interesting. Okay. Not really sure what they were thinking with that play, but that is fine by me. I'm just gonna go back into Miraidon. It stops them from having glide pressure. So their fourth is presumably gonna be Zam, so we're playing cards face up at this point, except they don't know that we have a Moongus. Interesting. I'm probably gonna fake out Miraidon. They could fake out Urshifu. I kind of want to pivot Urshifu out. I feel like Incineroar is just so good on this board, and then if I have a board of Incin plus Miraidon, their guys aren't really doing anything. I think it's very likely that they U-turn with Rillaboom. I need to Draco this Ogerpon eventually, right? To get through it. It might not even KO because we're Scarf and not Specs. But it'll do a lot of damage either way. Okay. Okay, that's a really, really big deal. Really big deal that KOs. Because otherwise we weren't really getting through Ogerpon. Now I'm thinking about switching Miraidon out into a Moongus. Because they're going to go into the Horse, and then they're going to go into Rillaboom, and then they're going to fake out probably the Incineroar, and just try and get like a Nasty Plot. This is an interesting position. I could have considered just staying in with Urshifu there. Oh, but they go Zam. Interesting. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Very interesting. I'm kind of feeling a Terra Bug on Incineroar then. Terra Bug knockoff. I'll get rid of their Life Orb, even if they Terra, which is really nice. And then a switch to a Moongus. A Moongus is kind of my Zam check, so the fact that Zam is in, it's kind of telling me I want to go into a Moongus. I feel like Body Press Astral Barrage or Body Press plus Nasty Plot is their play. They might also not Terra their Shadow Rider, or just Protect and go for Body Press onto Incin. What I hope happens is this, where, okay, maybe Amoongus dies, but I'm going to get a knockoff into their Calyrex. Okay. They go for Body Press. Yeah, so they should have Terra Darked here. Yeah, that was definitely a blunder from them because they didn't consider the possibility of instant tearing. I feel like you should always Terra Dark there. Maybe they wanted to save like Terra Dragon for Zam to take an Electro Drift later in the game. But yeah, that's just going to be really, really good for me, and now I'm just in a totally winning position from here. That was a good play, calling the Amoonguss switch in with the Psychic, but yeah, they needed a Terra Dark in order for that play to work. Here, I'm just going to go into Urshifu because it means I will gain terrain control for the remainder of the game. And then 2 Electro Drifts should be enough to get through Zam, but I don't think they can really get through Terra Bug and Incineroar either. Okay. So here I'm thinking they could just like fake out Body Press Incin. I don't really want to hard switch Incin into Miraidon. I want Miraidon to get a free switch in. So I'm going to U-turn and detect. I just want to make sure that I don't throw on the cleanup here. As long as I get Miraidon in for free and still have one other Pokemon alive, it should be a win. So that's what I'm kind of trying to play towards. Let's see. They do go for the Glide. So that's really good for us. Okay. Yeah, they just double Urshifu. Okay. That makes sense. They're covering for us being banded or scarfed or something along those lines. But yeah, the U-turn is just going to come out here, do really good damage to Rillaboom. Thanks to the Terra Bug boost. Making that a 2-hit KO. Let's go. The offensive Terra Bug. Yeah, but Miraidon is going to come in here, and then we should just have a win with Electro Drift on Zam, close combat into Rillaboom. There's not really a lot that they can do here. They've already Terra'd. Yeah. Yeah. This is, I mean, even if they Body Press crit Miraidon, yeah, there's nothing they can do. They can't even if they have Protect on Rillaboom, they can't go for that. This is a guaranteed win. There's nothing they can do. Cool. Okay, so we went 4-0 today, which is nice. My only losses were to my internet hating me, so you know, we'll take that. Guys, I literally got 2 random losses because it DC'd as soon as I got to Team Preview. Do you know how tilted that was? Do you know how much I had to find my inner zen and recenter myself to keep recording? It's okay though. We got there. I think I played a lot cleaner in this episode than I did in the previous episode. Last episode, it was my first time. I made a couple blunders. I didn't really trust myself. The only real blunder I made today was not paying attention to our Ice Rider speed tiers in the beginning. So yeah, really happy with this. Teaching moments from that one. The thing is, I just kind of knew, always knew what I was doing because I've practiced this matchup a lot at this point. I think they played pretty poorly though. I don't think they should have switched out their Shadow Rider in the early game. I think they should have just stayed in, Terra Darked, and gone for Nasty Plot. I think that would have been the most challenging line for me. And then when they didn't Terra Dark in the, oh, I guess I blundered by thinking they Terra'd when they didn't. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I was so sure that they had already Terra'd because Terra Dark on Calyrex was just, like, so important for them to go for. But I'm pretty sure they were Terra Water Zam as well, so it didn't really matter in the end game. But yeah, my opponent definitely could have made it more difficult for me by going for Terra Dark on either of the turns that they could have with Shadow Rider, so not really sure what they went with there. I think it's still a pretty bad matchup for me, so that's still a matchup that I need to work on. But I definitely think that I played better in this episode than the last one, so hey, I mean, that's the point of the series, right? And even with the DCs stealing games from me, we still ended up higher than when we started. So, yeah, I had a lot of fun. Thank you for watching.